Tuesday, January 31st. You're watching The Big Story. I'm Haryanto Diman. Subscribe to the Straits Times channel so you will not miss an episode. Singapore has been ranked as the least corrupt country in Asia in Transparency International's annual Corruption Perception Index. The ranking by the Anti-graft watchdog also sees the Republic ranking 5th overall with 83 points, its lowest score in a decade. This is a drop from the 2021 rankings where it was tied with Norway for 4th. The 2022 index sees Denmark top the list, followed by Finland, New Zealand and Norway. Singapore is ranked 2nd in the Asia Pacific, finishing only behind New Zealand. Hong Kong, Australia and Japan make up the rest of the top 5 in the region. Transparency International, though, says the region has stagnated for a 4th year in a row, citing the growing influence of authoritarianism. It also says Asian leaders are focusing on economic recovery at the expense of other priorities as possible reasons for the stagnation. The report also notes the COVID-19 pandemic, climate crisis, and growing security threats around the world as reasons for fueling a new wave of uncertainty. Countries failing to address corruption is worsening the effects of this uncertainty. In response to the ranking, the Corrupt Practices Investigation Bureau said the situation in Singapore remains firmly under control and that the country has performed well across international indices for incorruptibility and having a clean public sector. The CPIB also noted in its statement that there's more public confidence in Singapore's corruption control efforts, with 96% of those surveyed rating it effective compared to the score of 94% in 2020. Wilson Ang, who heads the Asia Regulatory Compliance and Investigations Practice at Norton Rose Fulbright, joins us now. Wilson, Singapore is the top Asian nation in the Corruption Perception Index. What does this actually mean?
Well, thanks, Haryanto, for that question. I think it can mean very different things to different people. For me, in an uncertain world that we are currently in right now, where there is corruption, war, and the pandemic raging on, I think Singapore stands out as providing a level of assurance for stability and sound governance. It means you can go about your life without having to worry about having to pay a bribe to get things done, to engage in excessive, inappropriate entertainment, or give lavish gifts to gain business for your employer. Where the US and Europe are facing serious challenges, I think Asia offers much optimism and hope, and Singapore, being the top Asian nation in the Corruption Perception Index, is in the right place at the right time.
Corruption, it's not something tangible. What are the implications then of a high or low score and its impact on society in any given country?
It may not be tangible to some of us if we just look at it as the result of a combination of surveys or headlines in the newspaper. But for people in countries where corruption is endemic and bribes do need to be paid for essential services, it can cause a great deal of discouragement, distress, and even desperation. So imagine if your loved ones were to need medical attention during the COVID-19 pandemic and you need to get an oxygen tank, for example, but you have to pay a bribe to medical staff to do so. I think that's a very tangible outcome. So even in the commercial setting, employees can find themselves in corrupt organizations where their superiors ask them to falsify records, generate slush funds, pay bribes to win contracts, or destroy evidence to cover their tracks. I think that is very real. So the impact of corruption on society and its people, I think, can be extremely profound.
Wilson, a look at the top of this index seems to indicate a correlation between low corruption levels and developed economies. Is there a relation, and how so?
I think on a superficial level, there is some correlation. I don't think there is by any means a direct correlation. To be sure, developed countries and sort of rich people have corruption problems too, and sometimes perhaps even more serious ones. But I suppose developed countries may be more conscious of the issues they face, have more advanced legislation to address corruption and more effective and independent law enforcement bodies to tackle such crimes. There is also greater protection and awareness about whistleblowing, people who come forward to protect them against retaliation and any kind of adverse consequences they may face.
Wilson, thank you for your perspectives. Wilson Ang, partner at Norton Rose Fulbright. That's our big story today. Visit straitstimes.com for more news and our YouTube channel for more videos. Subscribe by clicking the red button below. I'm Haryanto Diman. Join us tomorrow on The Big Story.